craft land on the shores of Normandy, France, the beginning of an assault that would soon move with lightning speed, as fast as 40 miles a day. Their opponent, the Nazi army, was tough, trained, and courageous, but exhausted, outmanned, and desperately short of supplies. The road to Berlin would cover 800 miles, take 11 months, cost the lives and homes of millions, and end with the downfall of the Third Reich. What lies on the road today? We'll travel parts of the D-Day route, places like Holland, Belgium, and Normandy, France. This is Robert Forrest. Join us tonight as we travel the D-Day route on Passport. The D-Day invasion route will be crowded on its 40th anniversary. Veterans, dignitaries, and history buffs will crowd the area for the rest of the year. As a result, hotel rooms have been booked for more than a year and will likely remain that way for the rest of the year. Still, you needn't wait until 1985 to see the D-Day route. First, there's always a chance someone will cancel their hotel reservation, leaving room free. That's kind of iffy, though. You'll be glad to know that ITT and rec service centers are offering tours to some areas. They take care of the details. You pay a reasonable price. Then again, you could do it like the troops did it. Stay outdoors. Well, let's say you wanted to rough it like a real live soldier. Maybe not quite as rough, but still, you can camp out by checking out your equipment at your nearest outdoor recreation equipment checkout center. That's a long name, but it's easy to remember. It's where outdoor recreation equipment is found, from A to Z. Bring an ID card and take your pick. Have it for a day, weekend, or week, and have it cheap, too. Some examples: a 4-man tent, as little as $2 a week. A sleeping bag, $1 a week. Bicycle, about $4 for 7 days. There is a daily late fee, and it varies with the cost of the item. And finally, the Outdoor Recreation Equipment Service Center won't let you have anything that isn't in good working order.
But seriously, folks, there must be better places to camp than this. Better clothes to sleep in, too.
Campgrounds along the D-Day route and throughout most of Europe are plentiful and modern. Most include electricity and running water. You can pay as little as $3 for a space and as much as $7 or $8. Most places have signs which conveniently spell camping in English. And if you see a picture of a caravan, you can park your trailers there, too. A camping carnet is not required, but it can give you preference over other campers. It's a card you can obtain by writing the National Campers and Hiking Association. It costs $15 plus $2 for handling, and it's good for 12 months. Automobile clubs also have information and suggestions about camping. Yep, that's if you'd like to experience the D-Day route something like the soldiers did by staying outdoors. They probably had more conveniences than those of another century when people had to travel around by horse and carriage, or wagon.
Wait till Daddy gets in, and then Daddy can put it under there.
But that's something you can still do in Europe today. In Holland, AFN's Charlie Gill.
I sent for you yesterday, and here you come riding in today. Well, certainly not a very good John Wayne imitation, but you don't have to be a John Wayne to take a trip like this.
The Contented Man's Journey Through Kempenland. Kempenland is near the town of Eindhoven, and that's in the Netherlands. If you want to explore, this is the place to do it. It just happens that an American family of 4 decided to journey through Kempenland, and we'll tag along with them and find out just what's in store for these city slickers from Frankfurt. First stop is the Van Oak family farm. The Van Oaks are the folks who take care of the ponies, run a great little restaurant, and tell you just how to take care of your new companion and transportation.
Okay, you said in the morning and then in the evening, 1.5.
Yes. No, in the morning at noon when we stop, then we let him eat the grass. Yes.
After all preparations are made, it's time for the Love family and the trusty horse to begin their adventure. A book is provided that describes the route in detail, but good navigation always comes in handy. 1 minute you're surrounded by rough terrain and bumpy roads, and the next you're entering a small village. Includes hotel accommodations on this particular 3-day tour, the Contented Man's Route. There will be 2 nights lodging and meals are included.
Were you surprised at how friendly the people were, though?
Not really. The people here, are real friendly and everything, but, most of the time whenever you travel, you run into them. But they're very, very, very outgoing and very friendly with you to visit and talk to. And a lot of them will speak English and really visit with you good.
While the weather may not always be perfect, the scenery is. But be advised that you will occasionally cross a busy highway. It isn't long, however, before you're back in the country.
First time I got up there to steer it, that's what I like about it. I don't know, it's just fun getting to hold on to the reins and everything.
Justin, there's no TV.
No.
No radio. What do you think about that? Do you miss all that?
No.
No telephones. That's the biggie. That makes it great.
Why is that?
Because you don't say alert at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Looks like the Love family has fared the trip rather well. And Mr. Van Oaks grooms the horse before taking him to his stall. For a little boy, though, it's hard to say goodbye to his trusted friend.
You can come back, couldn't you? Why not? You don't think you can come back?
So for now, we must leave the Kempen land and return to the city. One footnote, however, be aware of the driving speeds in the Netherlands. Our photographer on the passport crew wasn't.
You were driving too fast. The maximum limit in all of this 100 kilometers an hour. You were driving 160. Belgium and Holland, all the maximum speed limit.
Well, we offered to make the policeman a big TV star. Well, it's still going to cost us money.
Robert, can you loan us a few bucks, or a guilder?
So, you need some Netherlandish money. Okay, just remember, for every 3 guilder loaned, you pay back $1, since $1 is equal to about 3 Dutch guilder. Okay, you've been reminded, Charlie. You'll get the money. We'll put a check in the mail, along with a request for more information about seeing Holland by horse and wagon, which means a letter is on its way to the Eindhoven and Kempenland Tourist Office, 24 Stationsplein 5611 AC Eindhoven, Holland. Also known as the VVV. Trips come in 3, 5, or 7-day packages and start at about $200 for a family of 4. A pleasant way to see the land today, probably not true 40 years ago, for then Holland found itself along the D-Day route. But to get there, Allied forces first had to battle through France, and that took the better part of the summer of 1944. Through the woods, the towns, and through the big cities. Paris ended 4 years of Nazi occupation on August 25th, 1944, but it all started 2 months and 3 weeks before that, on June the 6th, at 6:30 in the morning in Normandy, France, on Omaha Beach. Peaceful, covered with stones. These things characterize the shores of Omaha Beach. You can stroll the coastline and let imagination take its hold today. You could not do that 40 years ago. Not with men and machines spraying bullets and shells from close range. What the resourceful Germans dug out, they often filled with cement and called it a pillbox. Walls 3 feet thick are now covered with the graffiti of 100 languages. Once upon a terrible time, though, the walls housed ammunition. Stephen Kine was an infantry captain, Company M, 23rd Battalion, 2nd Infantry Division. By the time he hit the shore, D-Day was already 16 hours underway, and Omaha Beach belonged to the Allies. Still, things were far from quiet.
When we landed at 11:30 on June 6th that night, the sky was full of tracer bullets. It looked like the 4th of July. There was so much shrapnel in the air.
Scared, nervous, under the circumstances, so would any ordinary man be. And they were mostly ordinary men, doing an extraordinary job.
They were men who had been assigned a job and had resolved that they would do the job. They would have preferred not to have been assigned a task, but we were here, and we must perform.
This is where it all began for many, many thousands of Americans who had trained for 1, 2, and 3 years for this one day, for this 1 minute. And for many, many thousands of Americans, this is where it all ended. It's been said that in peace, sons bury their fathers, and in war, fathers bury their sons. Here they lie side by side for all time. A president's son rests among the dead. His name, Brigadier General Theodore Roosevelt, Jr., a Medal of Honor winner. Roosevelt is one of the known dead. 307 other Americans are known but to God. The Normandy American Cemetery is appropriately located next to the shores of Omaha Beach. Among the things you ought to know about it, it's open 10 to 6 daily, and information in English is available at the entrance. Proper attire is required. That simply means no T-shirts or shorts. The latter not true for nearby Omaha Beach, which is easy to get around thanks to paved walkways and signs in English to guide you along. In Normandy, plenty of things are done to help you get around. Signs are often in English and have pictures on them to reinforce their message. Beds for hotels, campers for camping, a knife and fork for a restaurant. Speaking of food, residents of Normandy say their dairy products are the best in the world. So maybe you ought to try some cheese, milk, or butter. People here also say no one can top their apple cider, so you might want to sample that too. We just thought you might like to know these things while traveling the D-Day route. No man had it easy 40 years ago, but some had it tougher than others. 200 American Rangers had to scale a cliff 150 feet straight up just to reach the mainland at Point du Hoc. Above was a 6-gun battery of German howitzers, the object of the Ranger climb. No job for ordinary men.
I tried to imagine what it would be like to scale these cliffs, and I don't think I could have done it. Pretty tough people, pretty extremely brave people that came up here.
The landscape where once a Nazi garrison tossed hand grenades, sprayed machine gun fire, and lobbed shells is now riddled with craters. Been this way since D-Day, when 14-inch Allied naval guns punished the land from the sea. As powerful as they were, they could not destroy every pillbox. Though some were leveled, others looked more like ancient ruins. And one One has been restored into a monument in honor of the men who made that memorable climb. 200 Rangers originally tried to scale the cliffs. 150 made it to the top, and 60 of them would die within 2 days. When they finally did get to the top, they did not find 6 howitzers. They found 6 telephone poles. The Germans had repositioned their heavy guns only days before the invasion. Utah Beach, perhaps the easiest entry, took place here. The shore is flat and sandy. Soldiers could walk inland and did so under little resistance on D-Day. Ted Liska was a first sergeant, Company D, 12th Regiment, 4th Infantry Division. In 40 years, the biggest change he notices is the seawall. It's barely visible anymore, long since covered with sand. Time changes things.
After all, when I figure it out, it's been 40 years, and what a difference. But
Ted Liska and his men easily made it to shore, but as you tour the surrounding area, try and imagine what they had to go through to get further inland. Marshland was flooded by German combat engineers, leaving Allied troops to wade through waist-deep water. But at least they could see where they were going. Hedgerows were a much bigger problem, 10 feet tall and covered with thorns. Handy in war, natural barbed wire.
It seemed that hedgerows, every 50 yards, you had to go through a hedgerow, and you didn't know what was on the other side. And there was only one way to get over the hedgerow, was just try to cross on and hope some nose sharpshooter would try to have you in his sights.
More often than not, what waited was just another hedgerow. Why not use the roads? As any soldier can tell you, walk the roads in a war zone and be assured of walking into enemy sights. Suppose you wanted to use the road to get to Normandy. It won't be cheap. Gasoline is more than $2 a gallon. And there are many tolls to pay on French auto routes. We paid more than $30 between Saarbrücken and Normandy, a distance of about 400 miles. You want to get a road map of France to get to Normandy and a guidebook to get you around there. These things available at Stars and Stripes bookstores. Drivers, be aware of a few things like speed limits. 130 kilometers per hour or 80 miles per hour on auto routes, 90 and 55 on country highways, and 60 kilometers per hour or 37 mph in built-up areas. Don't forget green insurance cards, military members, pass or leave orders, and valid ID card dependents need a tourist passport. All of this to get you across the border. Any border, for that matter. If you've booked a tour with ITT or Rex Services, then most everything is taken care of. 4-day trips to Normandy start at about $120. There is a central address for Normandy information, and here it is. History was made here 40 years ago, yet Normandy looks much today as it did then, and always has. Pleasant, wholesome, and peaceful. An area which will likely live forever, side by side with D-Day. On July 25th, Allied forces began their final march towards Germany. It had taken them almost 2 months to secure the Normandy province. Now they began moving with lightning speed through France, Belgium, and Holland. By October, the Allies were in Germany, but it was never an easy trip. One small Belgian city played a significant role in the scheme of things, a small country town which to the unknowing visitor would still seem like a quaint small country village. A town of 8,000 people. How can a place the size of Mahia, Texas have so much of an impact on world history? Well, for a lot of veterans, bells ring and lights flash whenever anyone mentions the name Bastogne. Because of its location, Bastogne was and remains a crossroad between Holland, Belgium, and Germany. Hitler considered it the weakest point of the Allied front, and planned to drive a wedge through it, then take the nearby port city of Antwerp. He almost succeeded. The offensive kicked off on December 16, 1944. The Battle of the Bulge was underway. It had all seemed so peaceful just 3 months earlier. Jules Heinz was a schoolboy at the time.
The
Americans arrived on September 10th. It was a sunny day, and we celebrated the end of 4 years of occupation for the next 2 weeks. We had no idea that the Germans remained so close by. We thought the fighting was over for us. We could not believe that it would happen again, but it did.
Some of the heaviest fighting of the Battle of the Bulge took place here in the Ardennes Forest. The Americans on one side of the woods, the Germans just across the road and less than 50 yards away. There are plenty of artifacts still left from World War II, including plenty of foxholes dug in freezing December weather to the level of your armpit. If you stroll the Ardennes or any other former battleground, remember there is still live ammo lying underfoot. It's scarce, but it's there, so be careful. The Ardennes forest seems more suited for a picnic than a war. When you stroll through the area, just imagine what a terrible time those involved must have had. Combat was hand-to-hand in many instances. Too many trees to fire off a clean shot. The Ardennes forest surrounds the village of Bastogne, hence its name, the hole in the middle of the donut of the Battle of the Bulge. There are 7 main roads leading to Bastogne, which its French-speaking residents call Bastogne. Gasoline in Belgium averages about $2.30 a gallon. Only those stationed in Belgium can get gas coupons due to the status of forces agreement. $1 is worth about 55 Belgian francs. Hotels in Normandy, Belgium, and Holland range anywhere from $15 to $60 a night. They may be tough to find, but there are many camping sites in all areas. Finally, we list the address for Bastogne City Information. Since French is the language here, our city hall in Germany's Rathaus is Bastogne's Hotel de Ville. Not a hotel, but a city hall. It's a good place to go for information. Remember the Hotel de Ville, for we'll mention it again. On the subject of Bastogne, well, there are more than memories of the Battle of the Bulge. You might wish to sample an order of pommes frites. Here they say they ought to be called Belgian frites, that French fries were actually invented in Belgium. Anyway, they fry them twice here and serve them with more than 30 different kinds of sauces. Also famous is jambon de Bastogne, or ham of Bastogne. A kilogram costs from $3 to $4. We found it a tad salty, but nevertheless.
How'd you find it?
Very good. Very good. I rather like it. Yes, indeed. Hey,
You'll find plenty of parking along Rue du Vivier, the city's main street. If you drive northwest on the main street, you'll find signs pointing to the city historical center. And there are more reasons why Bastogne is no ordinary town. Because thousands of Americans died here, a star-shaped monument was built in their honor 35 years ago. On it is every state in America and every military unit which played a part in the Battle of the Bulge. In short, it's a tribute to the high price of freedom.
It's just hard to imagine that was going on here when you're standing here right now and it's so quiet. And you just can't imagine the action, the noise, and the sound of it all.
Adjacent to the memorial, one of the more spectacular museums of military history. For a price of less than $1, you can become an authority on the Battle of the Bulge. 200,000 others do so each year. This is the most successful museum in Belgium. Brigadier General Anthony McAuliffe uttered perhaps the most memorable four-letter word of World War II. When the Germans had him surrounded and called for his surrender, he told them, nuts. That happened on December 23rd. From then on, it was downhill for the Nazis. Since the end of the war, the last couple to be married in Bastogne each year does something for good luck. Perhaps it's not difficult to guess what it is. They throw nuts from the balcony of the Hotel de Ville. Nuts! The Bulge raged on for 6 weeks. The Nazis fought their last stand, and it was a most gallant effort for an empire down to its last 100 days. The Panthers and their men stopped rolling on the outskirts of Bastogne, near villages like Foix. Here, the fight ended for many a brave German soldier, with surrender and death. Some as young as 15. If they had survived today, they would be our friends.
They were guys like you and
me. Here they lie 6 to a cross. Where have they gone? God only knows.
They were just other soldiers, the other side, and they put up an unbelievable defense, obviously.
Sherman put it so well over 100 years ago. War is hell. It was hell for G.I. Joe. It was hell for Tommy the Brit. It was hell for Walter Sealer as well. Memories and imagination. A trip along the D-Day route will trigger one or both. Since hotels will be hard to find, remember that ITT and Rec Services offer tours to Normandy. 4-day trips start at about $120. Don't forget campgrounds. At some places, reservations are accepted. Don't forget your travel documents, passports, pass or leave orders, and green insurance cards. Remember that money can be exchanged at border crossings. Another reminder, in Normandy, D-Day sites are spread far and wide throughout the 100 by 150-mile province. It can take time getting from one place to another. For example, an hour from Omaha to Normandy Beach, an area which will be mighty crowded in June, but there are other things.